like, we're not getting sponsored to do anything. We're not getting, we're not sponsored to do this podcast. We just,
Are you paid?
We are not paid.
No.
Then it's not an issue.
Right. And I think that's what's hard. Like when I see these things happening, it's like, it's really not, there are so many benefits from us doing this podcast, from me making that content, from my personal shop, Oh yeah. I've been able to meet so many incredible people like yourself, have great connections in the industry just because of being able to do this podcast and being the installer group and all that. So I think if people could look at the benefits of just giving back to the community, and like you said, I agree with you. If someone is getting sponsored to do it, they're smarter than Tug and I, because we just want to give back.
Work, guys. Yeah. Get paid to work.
Exactly.
You don't detail a car for free. Why would you want to edit a video and make content for free? I don't understand why. I'm just walking the line I walk because I don't have to. And like, I've had people message me, like many people, like, hey, you need to upload on a schedule. You have to do this. Like, I do it when I want. And if it's good, it's good. If it's bad, it's bad. If people like it, if people watch, I don't care. I'm doing this the way that works for me. Someone just recently said you should probably try and get a video out like twice a week or whatever. I'm like, I can't guarantee that.
Hi friends, welcome to the Opti-Coat podcast, where we share stories from detailing professionals and highlight cutting-edge products, techniques, and tools that'll help your detailing to accelerate into the future. Wherever you're listening or watching this podcast, please follow, like, subscribe, and share with a friend. I hope you enjoy the conversation.
Well, welcome back to the Opti-Coat podcast. Today we have Sheepstar on the podcast today. How are you doing?
Doing good.
Awesome. So you and I talked, and of course, Jacob's here with his lovely fall/winter heavy beard coming in there, which looks fantastic.
It's coming in strong.
We all have nice healthy beards. Mine is super curly too, so it took me about a year to finally, and it's still wavy, but it took me about a year to, trim it and cut it and whatever. But, I might as well. It's disappearing up here and reappears down here, so that's fine. So anyway, we talked at length about, so I'm just going to kind of let you have the floor. We talked at length about transparency in the detailing industry and companies who seem to be somewhat secretive. And of course, it's okay to have secrets, like a product that's coming out that's, not ready to release yet, but maybe putting teasers out there to get some excitement. But, SDS sheets where things are hidden or you can't get SDS sheets, if you can just speak to kind of the transparency in the detailing industry, and I know this should be in all industries as well, but specifically detailing, if you could speak to that, and then what are the reasons people would hide it, and maybe the reasons that they should release it.
Yeah, my perspective when it comes to detailing in YouTube is a consumer's perspective, right? Like, I'm not a professional detailer. I do not do it professionally. I don't have a business or anything like that. I just mess around with products in my garage and put crap on YouTube occasionally. And the requirements when you are a consumer are very different than when you are a business. Like, you go to Walmart, you buy Windex, you can buy bleach. There's no SDS sheet sitting next to the bottle when you buy it because it's a consumer forward product. It's not being sold for businesses. But if a business is going to use that product, you have to have access to an SDS sheet. And I have to do this for work. I have 3 binders full of printed out SDS sheets and digital copies because I have to have them for all the chemicals we use. But that's a business requirement. You are not at your homes. OSHA or whoever's the inspector is not going to come to your house and go, "Where's your SDS sheet binder? We need to see where you keep your lemon pledge sheets," right? Like, they don't care about a consumer, but they're they can go after a business. It's probably not that common, but there seems to be this big crossover and this big overlap between consumer and professional when it comes to detailing specifically. Like, you can find marketing from a lot of brands, not just a handful or a specific one, that, the products can be used in a professional manner. And, technically all of them could. Like, some make much more sense to use as a professional, but, you could use any car detailing product in your business if you wanted to, which then means that you have to be able to get an STS sheet. So, like, I personally don't care that much about STS sheets because I am not a professional, doing it as a business. If I was, I would,
Yep.
and I'd be
Right.
much more vocal. And just in my travels, talking to some people who do care a lot more about STS sheets, I learned a few things that, plus my experience at work, that, what is on there, the most important part of an SDS sheet is not what makes it tick. It's not the magic ingredient or anything like that, but it's just about the precautions that you need to know should something happen. It's not look at the symbols and judge the product. Go out there and look at some sheets. Like, there's a lot of really nasty products that people have not said anything about. If you look at the symbols on the sheets and you look at all the ingredients or whatever they're using, it's not uncommon for those chemicals to be really harsh. You're not supposed to be washing your body with them. That's why they can be more harsh. But the information needs to be there as to what the hazard is, the symbols for it, and the precautions, and they don't allow you to just straight out redact an SDS sheet. You can't do that. It's against the law in Canada, and is for what I know, in the US as well. You can apply in Canada. You can apply for a claim. You can submit a claim to have it redacted as a confidential component. If it's approved, then you are given a claim number, which you then have to put in your sheet, and then that number must they have it in a database, so that if they look at that sheet, they see that number, and then they see that has been approved to be redacted. But you still have to have a generic chemical name, not the exact one, but a generic name, and all the hazard information, including the symbols. You can't just wipe the line out because it was an issue. That's just not true. It's 100% not true. So, and again, the only reason why anyone should care is just they just want to know how to handle the product and how to mitigate a potential health hazard. That's it. I don't look at SDS sheets unless I have to. I don't have them at home. I did enough of it at work that I got kind of sick of it, to be honest with you. I just was, by the time I filled the third binder up, I'm like, okay, I'm done with this crap. But that's why, like, professional lines like McGuire's and those guys, they sell empty bottles, because if you're decanting a gallon into a smaller bottle, you have to have the label on that bottle for the chemical. As a professional, it has to have the label on every bottle you use. So I'm sure there's businesses out there with some generic Zep bottle that they bought at Home Depot with some decanted, acid wheel cleaner or some nasty chemical inside, and it's technically that isn't compliant. So, not to poo-poo it and anything, but if you are a business, that's the rules. And we are all expected to follow the rules. If you are doing that thing, right? That's kind of how it works. Otherwise, it's not fair. So, but yeah, as far as SDS sheets and stuff, that's really my only concern. Is like just get the hazard info, so people can make sure they're being safe. If you have to wear a respirator, like ceramic coatings and stuff, you should probably be wearing a respirator. Probably. Most of them, CarPro Light, which is a very consumer coating, it ships with a mask and gloves. So you really shouldn't be breathing any of that stuff in, even if you're being very careful. Like, this time of year, I'm door shut when I'm doing the paint stuff if I'm detailing a car. So yeah, I got a respirator for if I'm going to do a coating. I'm not going to risk it. And like, I have to also consider my garage is attached to my house. So if I'm using something pretty nasty, it's going to get upstairs. Funny story. So where I live, I have recycling, garbage, and compost bins. I have all three of them. But because of where I live, I can't store them outside because we have bears and coyotes. Like, very regularly, there is a bear in my complex, probably once a week at least. So I have to store them in my garage. And you can imagine that in the summertime, when the temperatures are staying high in the garage, the compost bin gets properly ripe. and I had
Mhm.
an issue with maggots appearing in a
Gosh.
little, not a ton, but a good enough amount where I walked in there and I had about 5 seconds to be disgusted, and then I had to get to work because
Right.
I had to rein these things in and kill them all. But I just went and grabbed straight bleach and I filled a mop bucket up and I just hit everything, and it didn't even kill them on
Mhm.
contact. I was shocked at how durable they are, but once I
Wow.
got them all reined in and cleaned up everything, my garage smelled like a swimming pool, and we actually had to crack
Mhm.
the door open at night
Yep.
to stop it from getting upstairs and really,
Mhm.
really overpowering the living room and the whole
Right.
other main floor. So, like when you consider the possibility of the hazards of the products you could be using in a, a business at a home type environment,
Right.
it's really important to just be able to know what's going on with those chemicals so you know what to do. Not because you don't want to use it, you're going to judge it, but just like, how do I use this product safely? Not should I use this product, but just how. Because
Right,
they
and
are
especially
safe
if
to
you have
use.
employees too,
Yeah.
knowing how to properly care for the people working for you
Yeah.
is one of the most important things you can do as an employer.
Well, it's a huge lawsuit if you aren't following that kind of stuff. Like, they do not mess around with that stuff. So yeah, that's just been my experience with it. Is that there's a way you're supposed to handle it, and not seeing that in some places. So yeah.
Do do you think, um, kind of not going super specific in connection with SDS sheets from like the manufacturer, are you coming across any companies that are hiding, the ones that are making it or having it made? Are you coming across any companies that are altering their SDS or leaving things out, redacting, or
I've
because of
seen
the
it.
harshness?
I don't know if they're doing it because of the harshness. They're redacting everything, like including water, which doesn't make sense.
Right.
But yeah, I've seen it here and there, but it's also inconsistent. I've like a prime example of companies that get SDS sheets right is like Sonax. They have a separate, they have an ingredients list and an SDS sheet. So they'll literally tell you
Okay.
all of the ingredients,
Mm-hmm.
minusing like one. Like, I can't remember what I checked. I checked one of their products, but like all, like there was like 13 or 14 listed ingredients and one of them was redacted. And then their SDS sheet could have been like 30 pages long. It was ridiculously detailed. But
Right.
I've seen like transport information. Like, you have to have transportation language about how do you transport this product and what's safe for transporting, because you have to, you put it in a truck, you got to put the right symbols up for depending what
Mm-hmm.
kind of, again, I've done
Yeah.
dangerous goods training at work, and so I've had to learn all this stupid crap. But like,
Yeah.
if you don't have that on your SDS sheet, you are not compliant. Like, you have to have transportation language about what's safe transportation limits and all that kind of stuff. Like,
Right. Right.
SDS sheet should be very set. Like, you have to do it. There should be no ability to muck around aside from the claims process of like, hey, we need to redact like confidential thing, like trade secrets, that stuff. I think that
Okay.
in states they call it trade secrets, but you're allowed to
Okay.
apply for that. In Canada it has to be approved. But yeah, it's nothing new. Like, it's nothing new to have a trade
Right.
secret, but none of these chemicals are anything specifically special. Car
Right.
detailing has
Yeah.
been
It's
very
nothing.
slow evolving lately.
Yeah. Going back to kind of the labels, SDS sheets, and detail shops, dealerships, whatever. Did you say that the bottles are supposed to be labeled and then have the SDS sheets? That's what you're
So you have
talking
to
about,
have a
right?
copy. You have to have a copy of the SDS sheet, and we went
Okay.
overboard by having digital and physical copies. Because
Okay.
if we're running a power outage, if there's a power outage or something, or if a file that you're
Sure.
storing them digitally gets corrupted, you've got the physical backup where you can still have that access to it, right?
Right. Right.
Sometimes grabbing a binder and just ripping through pages is also faster than pulling up a computer, but
Yeah.
depends on the
And do you
situation. I've never had to deal with any situations where it's crazy,
right?
but
And do you think this is a a Canada thing and a US, or is it just because you're being in Canada?
No,
Are
it's
you
USP.
speaking of? Okay.
Yeah, like McGuire sells their pro labeled bottles in the States. So it's definitely a US and Canada
Okay.
thing.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
And then, so what do you think about writing on the bottle, like, polish or whatever, all-purpose cleaner? Is that kind of
I'm not
sufficient?
I'm not sure exactly like
Hmm.
what the requirement is for labeling the bottle, like how you
Yeah.
have to do it or like at
Hmm.
what specific things, but it is a thing. I do know that like if you're
Yeah.
decanting products and those bottles are like it makes sense, right? Like it's a gripe I've had with some products where they didn't have the application instructions on the bottle, but they had it on a
Hmm.
box that like the packaging came in. And I was like,
Okay.
that's you've given me the instructions, but they're not where I need it, right? Same thing with a hazard. Like, yes, the big jug of it has like, hey, if you spray it in your eyes, rinse it for 15 minutes. But the
Yeah.
thing that
Yeah.
I'm going to spray into my eyes
Hmm.
doesn't have it. That's
Right.
the leg they're standing on, is that the last thing you touch should have the safety, like the safety warnings on it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's again, because I'm a home gamer, I just never looked into it.
Sure.
If I get to that point where I have to, if I start a detailing business at home, which I don't think I'll be doing anytime soon, because I live in a townhouse, um, and I have no spare time, I could barely do this podcast. I might look into that, like, and just be like, or I'd
Yeah.
reach out to the companies and be like, hey, can you give me a label? Can you get me a bottle for this so that I can decant it? If it's something I know I'm keeping for a long
Hmm.
time and I'm not going to cycle that out, which again, if I was a professional detailer, I would not be cycling out products every 2 weeks to try something new.
Right. Right.
Then I would reach out and be like, hey, I'll gladly buy a spray bottle with the label on it, or like a lot of them get around
Yeah.
it by having a 16 ounce, to go with the gallon
Okay.
or whatever it is. Like that is the bottle you would use as your RTU
Yeah.
product, and hazard symbols will be on there. That's sort of the way a lot of brands sort of figure it out. Some places they want to be able to just sell bottles, and that's fine too. But if you buy an
Yeah.
RTU version and it has a concentrated gallon or whatever it is, then that would be the bottle you would refill and keep using. And then
Yeah.
should that label rot off or whatever, then you just buy another bottle of that RTU. That seems to be like
So,
looking back at it, like how do you get around it? It's like you buy the small and the big.
Which, as
Okay.
detailers, is often how we start scaling anyways. You'll
Yeah.
start with the 17 ounce, the 24 ounce bottle. Then when you're almost out of product, you'll get the 32 ounce or the
Yeah.
gallon
hmm
It's
jug
a
and
trial size.
use the
Trial size.
yeah, and then you can still use that
Yep.
spray bottle,
Mhm.
like Ferrex, starting with the spray bottle, and then you go to the gallon.
Yeah.
And try not to spill all over your hands with it. Of course, you could use a funnel if you were smart, but
I have Sonax's iron remover, and there's a funnel that's built into the bottle. It actually
There you
attaches
go.
to it. They thought it up. They thought that through perfectly, so it was worked out great.
hmm
yeah, leave
Yeah.
it to detailers to get into the details, right?
Yeah.
Well, one of the things as you're talking that is coming to mind for me is kind of the disconnect between people who take detailing as an industry seriously or not.
Yeah.
I'll get the phone calls and people are expecting, oh, if you could run over to my house and just give me a quick vacuum and, hit my windows. It's like, well, I actually, have thorough packages, and you start pricing
Yeah.
things out. And some people are just, shocked because they're expecting a high schooler to come over, with one spray bottle and a towel.
Yeah, the kid's gonna come paint your house with a ladder and a bucket.
Yeah, and then they'll clean your car on
What do
the
you
way
mean it
out.
looks like crap?
What do you mean it looks worse than it did before you came over?
Yeah.
So I think that these are the types of conversations that are important to help show how it's a professional industry. We're professionals. There's business insurance. There's all these different things that go into it aside from just let me go to Walmart and get a couple things and
Yeah. And if you got to start somewhere, like everybody does in anything you do. Like some people will be naturally talented and gifted, and they'll get into it and they'll be really good right off the hop, or they'll get better results with, they'll do more with less or whatever it is. And you got to start somewhere. And unfortunately, detailing, if you look into like the automotive side of the industry, like it's very clear certifications, schooling, requirements, testing for things like being a technician. Like in Canada, we have something called Red Seal, which takes 4 years to get or to be a certified tech. And then if you want to work in, say, like high voltage, that's a whole other thing on top, right? Like that is very clear. You've proven your worth to ask for the wages and ask for, the kind of compensation that goes along with being a full certified tech. And in detailing, there isn't really anything like that. So, you've got some people, just, home gamers or just doing friends and family. Like that's my thing. Like I might get 4 cars a year. I'm going to push this year because I kind of have to. I started something that means I have to detail and coat 8 cars this year, and you'll see what it is in a few weeks or a month or so. But
Yeah.
but I'm doing it like, I'm doing it for friends and family. I'm charging them peanuts because the reason why I can do that is because they wouldn't get it done otherwise. It's like it's peanuts or nothing. And for me, it's like, okay, peanuts and content. I'm okay with this. Like this is the compromise I'm gonna make. And I don't like gouging friends. It's not this. That's why I would do it. But you've got people who are starting out, and it's like, oh, yeah, I'm gonna charge 100 and something bucks an hour to be a detailer. It's like, well, why did you earn that rate? Like 50, 60 bucks an hour to be a full certified technician after 4 years of schooling and a whole bunch of testing and a bunch of hours in the shop. Yeah, you've earned the ability to charge 50, 60 bucks an hour for a full certified tech, right? But somebody just starting out and they spent 2,000 bucks on gear, but you don't have the time, right? Like it's a really hard line to walk, because you could also look at it from like, well, you've got the quality of work that a big shop could do. Then there's got to be this weird middle ground. But I don't really dabble in that, because the way I do things and the way I price things is very specific to my situation. If I was a working detailer out of my own home and that was my livelihood, yes, I'd be charging a lot more. Even doing it out of my home, like you don't have to pay for a facility on top of a mortgage. It's the same thing. But I could see that, like, full detailers who have been in it for years and years and years, who've done their time, they've proven themselves, they should always get to charge the most. I think that works with every other industry too. Like seasoned, experienced employees, whatever profession it may be, typically get to charge the most, or they earn the most because of their experience. People starting out nowadays, I guess the cost of everything just keeps going up and up and up too. So it's hard that line gets a little blurry too.
Right. It certainly does. And
mortgages these days are not what they used to be.
No. And it's hard too. I think personally, when I started in on this as a business, after years of on and off learning things, doing some mobile detailing, I worked as a detailer at a car dealership when I was like 18,
Yeah.
So, but when I started taking it more seriously, I went full time with it as a business. You've got that whole other perspective. And I don't think everyone should do this, but I knew at the time that I didn't have necessarily certain skills and certain experience. So it was hard for me to look at the guys who I know that have been doing it in the area for a long time and be like, well, gosh, like they're charging that. How could I charge this when, I haven't necessarily had certain scrapes and bruises?
Yeah.
It helped me because I was able to kind of hide in the shadows a little bit. I did a lot of dealership work, just 1099 contracted dealership work, but I was able to kind of earn some stripes that way, get my personal experience up, and get, go through some of the big issues and, oh geez, rubbing a backing plate, or you're trying to sand something out and you burn through, or something on the inside, you're working on the interior and something happens with the leather. Getting through those experiences and knowing how to avoid those mistakes. It allowed me personally in my conscience to go, I know how to avoid mistakes that someone who's going to be charging less and they don't have business insurance, they're not taking this seriously. If someone takes it to their shop, they're going to have those issues and have to go to another shop. So, but going straight from, all right, I'm going to start a detailing business and I'm going to figure it out as I go and charge, what the person in my area, like whoever's charging the most, I'm going to charge the same. It's really tough to balance that. I think that everyone has a little bit of a different journey getting there.
I think, like the whole friends and family is a great starting place. Like if you're transitioning careers, don't leave your previous career yet. Get a few cars under your belt, get the experiences, learn those mistakes before you go live, sort of thing. I've got an issue with my van. The previous owners just absolutely, I think they dumped a pot of coffee in every seat in the back,
Of course.
So I just keep pulling brown. When we first got it, I was like, there's a bit of a must. So I was like, I'm just going to give it a steam and an extraction and go over it. And I could not stop the rear seats from just wicking. And I learned, I went down the rabbit hole and I was like, yeah, I screwed that up. I put too much water in it. And I can pull the seats out and I can clean them in the garage and I can dry them with the heater. But, if you got to learn that mistake. Like if that was a person's car and I did that, I'd be like, hey, my seat's brown. I was like, yeah, that's my fault. It's not your fault.
Right.
Right. I guess I'm coming back to fix it or you're bringing it over to fix it. So, you need that time. You need that apprenticeship sort of thing. Because detailing is, in my opinion, it's a trade. It's a physical job. I don't see it any different than, a technician. It's just you're repairing different things. You're not mechanically repairing, you're aesthetically repairing. And trades always use apprenticeships. So I think, the lack of schooling and certification, that's just sort of universally like agreed. Like it would have to be a governing body to regulate this to make it fair. It can't just be one company being like, oh, you pay our money, you do our course, and then you've got this. Or you can have 800 of those. It's like, which one's right? It has to come from somewhere higher up than that. But it is a trade, and I think people do need to, go through the trenches and, like you say, scrapes and bruises. Like you got to screw it up. You got to learn. you gotta find your limit
and pay for
chemical
your
limit
mistakes sometimes. Yeah.
Yep. Oh yeah. I lost every dollar I made on one detail for a car because they had an aftermarket intake and I covered the filter, and so I washed the engine bay because I knew those filters, you don't get them wet and that's it. Like engine bays, generally speaking, this day and age are pretty safe to clean. But I was like, wrap that in a plastic bag and washed the whole engine bay, looked great, blow dried it off, and then later on I went to move the truck around back because it was back in the day when I was at my parents' place, and I was like, this thing does not want to start.
Oh no.
Pull the hood, and I was like, the air filter just crunched into the middle, and I was like, oh. So I found the brand, and I went to the parts store, and I was like, you got one of these? He's like, yep. How much? I'm like, oh, how much I'm charging for the detail I see? Yep, well, I'll take one. And I put it back in. I was like, you gotta, that's how you handle those situations. You make it right.
Yeah.
He was like, oh, the engine air filter looks brand new. I'm like, because it is. I need your money to pay off this bill. But that's part of learning. That's part of the whole experience, I think. And even as a non-professional, like the more frequently you do things, the less likely you are to make those mistakes. So it's like somebody who doesn't detail very often. I've been at the point where I'm start polishing. It's like, oh crap, I forgot to clean the trunk jam. So,
right.
It's like, okay, if I'm going to put on a ceramic coating, it's like, we're going to stop now. I got to get this done and dried and chemicals off the paint before I, try and coat the car. So yeah, you definitely like a checklist or something would be really good if you can be that organized. There's a whole bunch of ways you could get around this, but I think, yeah, it's just something, no matter who you are, where you're coming from or what you got to start with, you gotta go through the motions and just learn it.
Yeah, I was going to say about as far as detailing industry, the technical training, and I agree. You have technicians of all carpet cleaning. They have carpet cleaning school,
Yep.
right? I don't know about in Canada, but hairstylists. You know what I mean? They all go through training. Detailing seems to be because it's like school janitors. You know what I mean? They don't go through training. Like
No.
you show up at a school to clean the here's the bucket, here's the mop, here's the cleaner. All right, good
Yeah.
luck. And that's kind of what detailing. I consider myself. And I'll talk to people, but like this ceramic coating here, you're going to spend $2,500 to have the interior exterior ceramic coating. I'm not selling you ceramic coating. I'm giving you time, right?
Yeah.
Because especially with Opti-Coat, it's the most durable coating available, and it's the easiest to maintain. So you can wash your car every couple of weeks in 20 minutes. Oh, you're spending 5 hours a month currently on a car you don't care about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm yes, and I agree with the training. I think for me, and I think a lot of these guys probably have been through, and I think Jacob with at the dealership, that's kind of a training. It's not like official. You can go to the
Trial by
IDA
fire.
or or you could go to the local detail supply company and they offer, schooling. I could make the piece of paper and hang it on the wall. It's kind of arbitrary, but I mean, I could just, go on their website and download, copy and paste or whatever. And I'm not advocating for schooling, but for me, I was at a dealership. I learned certain things, and then I went to a private detail shop and I learned different things. Everybody does it differently. There's no like industry standard. And by the time I got finished, I kind of put it all together, having worked for all these places. And then once I got my shop, okay, now I'm really going to take this seriously. What do I want to offer?
Yeah.
What do I want to give these people? What is everybody else doing? I want to do something different. So it's an entrepreneurial mindset. And I go back to the janitor thing. Like, okay, I'm charging you $2,500 for Opti-Coat Pro Plus, OptiGuard, and whatever else we coded. And I'm giving you time, but I'm just a car janitor. This is not like difficult. It's not rocket science. I can get, the entire car done in one day. I don't need to spend 8 hours polishing, like some people do, but if that's this whole separate issue. But I think the industry, and then if you look at the detailing industry as a whole, everybody kind of does their own thing. There's a lot of bottle hoppers, like you mentioned earlier. Everybody kind of does something differently. And right, what business would try to regulate this? If the government comes in, well, the government's going to mess it up. So you don't
Probably.
want them getting involved. So, I'm not advocating for either one or the other. I'm just kind of processing out loud. But I think, going to the earning the right to charge a certain amount, and I'm not disagreeing with what you said about it correcting. Yeah, guys starting out probably should charge less than guys that have been established. And I always, when I think of like $50 an hour, my experience, the guys around where I am, they're not even close to 50 an hour. They're like 25 an hour, if even that. So it's okay.
Well, that was
If
in
50
reference
is
to like technicians who would make that kind
right,
of money.
exactly,
But yes,
right.
percentage scale it for the profession that it would be.
Yeah, and I think everybody needs to charge based on obviously their market, but it's just kind of interesting how everything is so different in the detailing industry, but yet the results are the same. The car's clean, it's
Yeah.
protected, and
Yeah.
it's sorry, I'm getting a call, and the customer's happy, and that's we can all argue who does what better and who should charge this more. I didn't necessarily have a point. I just wanted to. I'm just processing.
Yeah.
Which
That's a good point.
when you
Like,
were talking.
is the person at the end of the day happy?
Right.
Barring some kind of, inspection. We're like, hey, wait a
Yeah.
minute, this isn't a 95% defect removal. Nobody's going to catch bad detailers. This reputation will catch them, like
Right.
that's the problem with not having regulation and governing bodies and things and like that, and that sort of stance. Like, it's not getting inspected post detail to be like, yes, you have achieved the targets. And like, in the automotive industry, when it comes to repairing a vehicle, it's very serious because there's safety concerns, right? You don't tighten the bolts, shit falls off and there's a crash, So there's a lot of like, compared to detail, like, oh, you missed a spot, there's a high spot of that coating. Like, okay, it's probably more protected there than it would be anywhere else because it's a high spot. So Nobody's, it's not life and death when you're detailing a car,
Right.
assuming
Yep.
you're not,
Exactly.
dealing with mold and that kind of stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's not serious. And it's so funny
Hmm.
because like a lot of people, when you get to like social media side of it, they're like, we're just cleaning cars. We're just cleaning cars. I'm like,
Right. Yep.
my perspective, and this has been mine for a little while, is that the person just buying a 16-ounce bottle and washing their car in their driveway and not filming it,
Hmm.
not putting it on YouTube, and just joining a forum maybe to do some research, but they're just cleaning their own car. They're just washing cars. Everybody else is not just washing cars now. Like when, and the thing that changes it is money. As soon as money enters the equation, you're not just cleaning cars. I get paid by YouTube to put videos up. I have
Hmm.
companies send me products for free. I have, I made an affiliate code that is designed to just, pay off my debt with Carzilla. Like there's money involved with all of that. And
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with making money. You should make money for doing what you're doing. Like I spend $40 a month for Premiere Pro. I spend 100 and something bucks a year for my music subscription service, not including, if I counted that I spent, $1,400 on my rectangle to record videos
Uh,
with and microphones and my experience
Yeah.
in photography, which I've leveraged a little bit. I could totally make a cost sheet for how much it costs for me to run my channel. But, my day job sort of covers everything, and whatever comes from YouTube sort of picks up some scraps here and there too. So
Yeah.
I'm not, but people who are doing anything where they're getting monetized, channels, they've got affiliate
Hmm.
links, codes, whatever it is, the kickbacks, free product. If you're doing sponsored content, I don't care. Just, but if you're doing any of that, you're not just washing cars anymore. You is a business now. And
Right.
part of being a business and making money is there is rules and laws about what you can and can't do. And it seems that this was lost on so many people for so many things. Like people in the YouTube detailing realm must only watch detailing because they have no idea how YouTube really works. Like YouTube is a
Yeah. I think
career
so.
for most people. It is their job.
Hmm.
They do not just get paid and live off AdSense. I'm telling you now. Like they're doing like big channels are doing massive sponsored deals, and
Hmm.
it's totally acceptable. It's totally fine. But there's
Yeah.
the detailing side. They're just so resistive to it, and they're so against it. And I'm not doing them for a multitude of reasons. I don't want to deal with tax time when I've got my day job and I'm applying like these things. Like, oh God, the taxes here is ridiculous. Like, just the AdSense alone is already enough. It's enough of a headache. So, um, but like making money through YouTube and doing sponsored content, there's nothing wrong with doing any of this stuff, but there is a way to do it properly. And again, if you look outside of detailing, you will see what proper is. They want to, I've seen, what is it, Linus Tech Tips, and I keep bringing up this channel and the Tech YouTube because they are far ahead. Their forum has a sponsor complaint section. So if they've sponsored product, like I think they used a rug company, I'm not going to name the name, but they ended up like after a while the rug started curling up on the edges, like sorry, curling up like this,
Hmm.
and they dropped them as a sponsor. And they made it. There's a post in there. People complained like, "Hey, this product that you guys ran sponsored for, they ended up not lasting like they were supposed to, and so they dropped them. They said, "Yeah, we're not doing them as a sponsor anymore. We had issues with them around the set. Our customers had issues, so we're not sponsoring with them anymore." That's how you're supposed to do it. You partner up with a good brand that you vetted that does a good job, and if they jump the shark or nuke the fridge or whatever acronym you feel like using for screw up, you're the first person
Hmm.
to point it out. You say, "Hey, that's not good. That's not okay. Like I teamed up with you, my viewers supported you, and now you're doing this kind of stuff." It's like, no, we're done here. And I've seen some channels permanently ban companies from being sponsored because of the severity of the screw up. And like most of the time, it's not just you screwed up; it's what you did and denying it, and then snowballing it, and then all of a sudden everything gets exposed, and then it becomes a big deal. Like
Yeah.
they were around stuff like that, but Wouldn't that be interesting if that happened in the detailing space where people could do sponsored content and then the creators actually sided with the viewers when things, went wrong instead of siding with the brands, which is kind of what they seem to be doing right now? Wouldn't that be interesting?
So are you, because you're mentioning, and I don't necessarily I don't really watch detailing videos, but I don't really watch, I don't have your perspective. So so you talking about detailers only watching detailing videos and kind of, are you referring to like not following rules? Or can you kind of elaborate on that part?
Well, so, there's a big thing where there was people being paid by companies, and then not disclosing paid promotion when they were
Okay.
featuring those products. So that's
Okay.
like
Gotcha.
the kind of the big thing, but that's sponsored content is sponsored content. It doesn't matter if that company is paying you, you must disclose the payment and you must put the
Okay.
little
I
thing.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But like there's nothing wrong. I'm not against the fact that they did sponsored content. I think that's,
Hmm.
as somebody who has watched sponsored content in everything else I watch on YouTube, because I don't have cable. I watch YouTube or streaming services if I'm watching a
Hmm.
movie with children. But like most of the content I watch on YouTube is fully sponsored. Some of them have sponsors at the begin and
Right.
end. Sponsored reads at both ends of the video, and I
Right.
don't care. I'm here
Right.
because whatever you're talking about or showing me is interesting, and I want to see it.
Hmm.
And I
Yeah.
realized that that sponsor is why you made this video in the first place. It was what allowed you to be able to make these videos. And it doesn't bug me one bit because I know that these channels have proven that if that sponsor jumps shark, they're the first people to tell me about it. I'm not going to hear about it through the grapevine. I'm going to hear about it from them. And detailing is a little different. The types of products and the claims, it's not like, when you're looking at tech YouTube, it's like this computer is this fast. And yes, it will be that fast and it will always be that fast unless something, goes screwy with the software or something. But like the hardware wise, it is what it is, what it is. It's not going to change, right? So with detailing, you've got a little bit of complication, like, product is old and it doesn't perform as well, things like that. But if you got a brand
Yeah.
where they just in general stand behind their products and they stand behind their customers and they're not overcharging like crazy, I think you can charge money. But if it's like, X percentage more for X percentage better performance or whatever, if everything's in line there and that company's doing well, like no issues with that company sponsoring a channel and that channel being like, hey, I really like this company. I use their products and they're a good company to customers. And why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you want to team up with a company like that? But if that company
Yeah.
jumps shark, if that company screws up, that sponsored guy better be the first person to mention it. And
Got it. So
you know,
you
like
think, like taking the bird's eye view of this, we're looking at the detailing industry that a, a large chunk of the people who make up the industry are either hobbyists or just kind of found their way into it and let's try this product, let's try that. And so generally it seems like the majority of people who are consuming this kind of
content.
material about products is like, hey, I'm just an average Joe Schmo dude like you
100%.
who just started detailing a year ago and I like this product. And so here it
100%.
is. Then turns out they're actually getting paid to do this from a company who
So
obviously is taking things seriously, but then they're kind of like, I don't want to say wolf in sheep clothing, but they're kind of coming in acting like, hey, I'm just like
it's my honest opinion,
right.
by
Well,
the way.
and
There's a bunch of dollar signs behind that opinion.
and this is what's ironic about Tug and I doing this podcast. I don't know about ironic, but between that and then I've made posts about like using the carpet and fabric cleaner and protectant and using the hurricane tool, and I'm just so happy to find something that works great. I want other people to see it. I make the video and some videos get reposted, and so those videos for me, they get the highest amount of views on Facebook or Instagram.
Right.
But like we're not getting sponsored to do anything. We're not getting, we're not sponsored to do this podcast. We just
Are you paid?
we are
to
not
do them?
paid.
then
No.
it's not an issue.
Right. And I think that that's what's hard. Like when I see these things happening, it's like it's really not. It, there are so many benefits from us doing this podcast, from
Yeah.
me making that content, from my
Perks,
personal shop.
connections,
You know?
you know.
Oh yeah. I've been able to meet so many incredible people like yourself, have great connections in the industry just because of being able to do this podcast and being the installer group and all that. So I think if people could look at the benefits of just giving back to the community, and like you said, I agree with you. If someone is getting sponsored to do it, they're smarter than Tug and I, you know, because we just
Get
want to
paid
give
to work,
back.
guys.
Yeah,
Get paid to work.
exactly.
You don't detail a car for free. Why would you want to edit a video and make content for free? I don't understand why. I'm just walking the line I walk because I don't have to. And like I've had people message me, like many people, like, hey, you need to upload on a schedule. You have to do this. Like, I do it when I want. And if it's good,
Right.
it's good. If it's bad, it's bad. If people like it, if people watch, I don't care. It's I'm doing this the way that works for me. You know, someone just recently said you should probably try and get a video out like twice a week or whatever. I'm like, I can't guarantee that.
Right.
I have nights where I don't sleep. I can't guarantee the fact that I can stay up till midnight editing a video one day. And then I you know, a big part of it too, I think, is like I just, you know, my content, I don't want it to hold it back too much. Like sometimes I'll schedule just like a couple days because I just finished a video and I was like,
Yep.
posting multiple videos in a day, or sorry, multiple videos in a row is really bad. YouTube really doesn't like that.
Right.
And the views, like you can find like a video that like I didn't think this video would do well and it does great, and then vice versa, things that you think might do great don't.
Yeah.
But you know, YouTube's all over the map with how they're pulling content and how they're recommending content. So it doesn't. I just don't care. It's like YouTube's gonna screw this up regardless of what I do. So I just do it the way I want to do it. But yeah, like if you know, even my pretty basic video editing performances that I do, it's nothing special. It's, you know, a ranked review might take like an hour and a bit, and I usually spend a good half of that just figuring out what song I want to put in.
Yeah.
I spend more time doing that than anything else. You know, it's so set up. It's so like I have to put the panel, like if I want to wait, everything waits 7 days before I do any chemical testing, so I have to get it on the panel and then wait 7 days. I cannot film that before 7 days. So the day I put it on the panel is the same day I film the application bit, where I sort of just go through the motions of what it's like to apply it to a small section. And then, you know, the gloss and fill panel, I set up sometime in between there. I don't have a set rule. It's at least 24 hours curing. That's it. That's the only rule, because some products do get a bit better looking after some time. But, you know, a week or 4 days, it makes no real difference. I just give it that 24 hours as a catch-all, you know, circumstance sort of. It can't get any worse or any better now, so that it's covered. And then yeah, once I film all of the testing and the gloss panels, and then the last thing I film is the intro and me standing and talking. And sometimes I will wait quite a while because I cannot think of an intro, or I can't.
Oh, I know.
I get massive writer's block. Like I have to film one more and I cannot think of the intro for it. So there's 3 out of the 4, because I usually do them 4 at a time, and I can't. Yeah, I don't know when I'm going to put up the last one because I can't think of the intro. But that's my problem.
Yeah. So real quick, guys, I need to step out. But Brian, it's been great having you on, and if Jacob obviously wants to continue, appreciate you being on, and
Yeah, thanks for having me.
He might ask you some questions here just to see how everything went at the end when he stops recording. So appreciate it. I'll see you guys later.
See you, Tug.
Hey, Doug.
See ya.
Jinx,
Yeah.
you owe me a Coke.
Oh shoot, I didn't hear it back at the same time as you, so
Oh,
that
yeah,
worked.
mine. Yeah, it worked out great.
You got me on the latency.
Right.
Was there anything you wanted to add to that concept of the people who have come in and said, "Hey, I'm just like you," and they're not? You know, what is that? And you know, we can talk about how that's kind of been a problem, but maybe we could spin it towards a positive. when people are doing things right, what does it lead towards? Like the transparency and community, the just the pushing the industry forward in the right way. What are some ways that we can, as consumers of content, as creators of content, and as detailers, what can maybe a couple things that we can do to say, hey, I want this to be transparent, and this is why that's going to help me in the long run.
Give me the tough question at the end here. I would say that, like for example, if I'm training somebody at work, I've trained people a couple times here and there for the type of work I do, and like if I was going to teach you something and say like you had to take a bucket and put it over there, and I said you have to put it there, it has to go there, and you put it over there, and after a couple weeks you might not put it quite there, you might put it near there, and I'm like no, it has to go there. The question is why does it have to go there? So if you focus on why and you train people off why, I find that you get better buy-in and you get better understanding. So when it comes to content, and sort of how why bridges in, this might be a stretch, you got to look at why are they making the content, right? Like if I worked for prop time Nikon, so I work for Nikon and I'm making a video about that lens, of course my content is going to be positive towards Nikon because I work for them. That's a given. There's no way in heck, a brand ambassador for Nikon is going to be like, this lens sucks. Has a slag piece for their, it's just not going to happen. When was the last time you saw a brand's commercial where they were like, yeah, we're okay. We're not great. Our toilet paper will clean you eventually, but like that just doesn't happen. So if somebody wants to tie in with a brand and wants to, maybe be an ambassador or whatever that is, the expectation of them being brutally 100% honest or being really really critical, it's not going to be there. It's just not. Like that's not going to happen because of that situation. It's designed so that it's not so much maybe hidden, which I think some people think if they're working for a company then they absolutely are hiding all of the bad things. It's like, well, no, it's going to get out eventually. But that you're only going to hear about the positive things instead of just a critical overview. And I think it's important, like everybody has a spot, every angle, every perspective has its place. I'm trying to looking at the camera lenses, so can I keep bridging this in? But like every perspective is there, and it's just about being clear about what you're doing. Like again, like photography hobby going back, but like there was like this person's photos and it was like, yeah, they're a brand ambassador for that company. So yes, they're an excellent photographer and they're taking excellent images, but they're using that company's gear, and they're not going to talk about the other company's gear. You don't give free ad time to your competitor. And in the detailing realm, if people want to tie in with brands or companies or whatever it would be, then there's nothing wrong with that. Just be upfront about it. And it's happening now, but there's still avenues where it's still not quite clear. It should be made more clear. And I think there's a fear. People think like, well, if I say that, then, people won't trust me anymore. They'll think it's bad. It's like, people are going to trust you more if you're honest.
Yeah.
What would make you not trust somebody who's being honest with you? That's exactly what honesty is trust. So, it's not a dirty word. It's not a dirty act. It's just how you do it so that you're clear and concise to a viewer. This is all you need to worry about. Just make sure that you're communicating that kind of stuff, and you can do whatever the heck you want.
Totally.
You're allowed to do sponsored content, and I'll offer this to somebody's watching and they want a perspective. I'll give you a freebie. Don't do reviews. Reviews don't work if you're sponsored. The guy working for Nikon can't review the Nikon lens. It's not a review. It's a showcase. So
Right.
do a showcase. Lean into that. Lean into that opportunity. What would better content for you be for a new company's, like say their lineup? Say you got a company's lineup, and would you want to just Go look at these products and then compare them to their competitors, or would you want to see all those products clean a really trashed car? I'd rather see them clean a really trashed car because I get to see a car get clean, which I find satisfying, which most people watching this content find satisfying. And then once that's done, you get to see that, oh yeah, these products, they seem to do the job. Like,
Right.
why would you want to show a paper towel absorbing water? You don't talk about it, you show it. Like,
Right.
show me the products in action. That's how I want showcase content to work. That's what they do in tech YouTube. Like, it gets sponsored by some company that makes parts, and they're not going to just sit there and run a game, see how fast it is. They're going to do a cool build in a crazy case, or like in some, they'll put a computer inside a van or something like that, a gaming system into the back of a van, and you play games in your van. That's the content. It's not, look at this, look how fast it is. Here it is, and here's a chart. He's like, done. No, you want to go and do the cool thing with the sponsored video. That's what sponsored content is there for. It's to provide the funding to do the cool thing. Make them pay for the
Right.
detail.
Right.
Give that detail away for free. Make the brand pay for it and provide the products. Now you've done a good thing for somebody, showcase the products working, and the brand can take the credit for, like, yeah, we covered the cost of the detail for somebody. Like,
Yeah.
that's what you do. You don't just go, look at this, it beat this, but I'm paid by these people. It's like, nobody's going to believe you.
Right.
Just
Yeah.
do something cool.
It'd be kind of like paying your customers to write 5-star reviews. Like,
Which happens.
right.
It happens in some industries.
Yeah.
Legit. Yeah. Just pay for a cool thing. Pay for a cool experience instead of just, giving a bottle and then being like, look how good this bottle is. I don't want to see that. I want to see something cool.
Totally. That's a great tip.
Yeah.
Awesome. Any last thoughts as we're wrapping up here?
I think I'm pretty good.
Awesome. Well, appreciate you carving out the time. It took
Yeah.
a couple months, I think, but we finally
Yeah.
finally got it.
Yeah.
And yeah, thanks for giving us a take. You're not outside the industry. You're in the automotive industry.
Yeah.
You're able to take that perspective as someone who isn't. You don't have you're both of your feet and everything riding on you as a detailer. You're able to take a look back and be like, if I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do it right. I'm gonna be intentional, not just like, oh, I got to work with what I have and say good things about it because I want people to like me. And so I think it's a nice, fresh perspective as someone who's in the detailing industry, but you're not dependent on it.
No, and the whole perspective is I don't want anyone to have say over what I can say. That's my channel. It's a big thing for my channel, and I'll deal with brands. I'm working with a bunch of brands for an upcoming video, and I specifically told them, like, you don't get say. You're sending me the product, you get no say, you get no preview, and if you're not cool with that, that's fine. But you're not in this then, and not one of them had an issue with that, and they never will, as long as you're fair. And like, I'll make sure the product's used properly. I'll make sure that I'm not singling out one or anything like I ever would. There's a lot of people who think like a free product is enough for you to sway your opinion. And I was like, if a free product is all it takes for you to compromise your values and the truth, you don't belong anywhere near influencing a video, writing a post, nothing. Like, that is ridiculous. Like, give your balls a tug. Like, that is ridiculously soft. I don't know how to describe it. It's just,
Right.
you have no spine. I've seen that comment a few times, and I just want to make sure people know, like, if you've got somebody who's bending over backwards just because they got a free product, run away from them. Like, that's not enough that's just, it's ridiculous. But
I think
my perspective is just no control over the content, but you can come on in if you want to. You can come subject yourself to the testing, or there's no hiding it. So I applaud brands that will jump into my arena, and there's no safety nets. And if they think their product's good, then they put it in there. And my criticism is fair. It's just like, I found that this or this or this didn't last. And again, my situation, environment. But I know I applaud any brand that wants to come in there and says, do what you want to do. One of the brands in the upcoming test. I was joking with them, and I was like, oh, what if yours fails and won't watch? He's like, I won't care. I don't care one bit.
right.
They're so confident. They don't care what happens. They said, we're putting our foot in here because we support what you're doing, and They didn't care. So that's what it's cool. And when you can do something like this, again, I don't want to spoil what's going on, but
Sure.
you'll see soon enough.
We're looking forward to it. I think that
Yeah.
one thing that's important about what you're saying is that you're not just like some bully coming on here saying it's my way or the highway. You're not an employee of these businesses, and legally you have certain freedoms as an independent contractor, and you're just exercising your rights. And I think that that's really important as detailers to know, to set the right expectations for yourself, for your, if you have employees or if you have independent contractors you're working with, and your customers. This is how it works, and this is how we stay safe. As we look at what does the law say, and I can do to get to this desired result as an independent contractor. You have no say in how I get it done, and I understand you get to decide whether you like the end result or not. Like you said, if you're training people in a workplace to say, hey, the bucket goes over here, if they're an employee, the bucket goes there. Yeah. So I think that it's important to know that from a law perspective so that you know the freedoms that you have for the situations that you're putting yourself in. And I think that, everything that you're saying lines up with what the freedoms that you have to exercise. And, I don't know Canadian law as well as U.S. law.
Neither do I.
Vice versa.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I appreciate you saying all that. I think it gives people some good insight and perspective into how to feel free to properly put out the right, just to be intentional with the content they want to put out, and how to watch out for people who are maybe kind of towing that line. Like, I don't know if I feel right about, who is this so-and-so and where did they come from? I think those are important questions to ask as you're building your case.
And if you just like, the personality, or if you like the editing that they do, or the the feel or the vibe of the content, you can support anyone for any reason. If you want, if you just want to be entertained, there's lots of entertaining people out there who may be tied in with the companies or what have you. But if it entertains you and that's why you're on there, there's nothing wrong. You can watch content and not watch content for whatever reasoning you want. Nobody can tell you why, and nobody can tell you how. Do whatever you want, but as content creators, once the dollar figures come in, there's rules that we have to follow, and we're all expected to follow them.
Yeah,
because that's what makes it fair.
There we go. Couldn't have said it better. Well, thanks for your time. Glad catching you, and hope you have a great rest. I know you got a day off today, so I hope you enjoy it, and then you'll be back in the grind, I'm sure.
Sounds good.
All right, we'll talk soon.
Yeah, man.
Bye.
Bye.